Well, there was other news about water this week, but it took place far from the policy dispute in Sacramento. In the early hours of this morning, there was great excitement as the NASA Ames Research Center crashed its LCROSS spacecraft into the moon. Scientists are in search of evidence of water beneath the lunar surface. So, Paul Rogers, what exactly happened and what is the significance of what did happen?
Well, what happened was NASA rocket scientists went on a fishing expedition to try to see if there's water on the moon. It's a question we've had for a very long time. And back in June, they shot off a rocket from Cape Canaveral. The whole mission was sort of directed and planned from Mountain View from NASA Ames. And the idea was this craft would circle the moon for a while. It would break into two pieces, and one piece would hurtle down and hit the surface of the moon at 5,600 miles an hour, about 10 times the speed of a jet plane. And it would throw up, at least the theory was, a huge plume of debris and dust, and then the second craft would fly through it with all sorts of instruments and mass spectrometers looking for hydrogen, which is the clue that there could be ice there in this crater on the moon.
It was all so exciting. I mean, it was like watching for a movie premiere or something with great anticipation. Didn't quite work out like that, though. So we have some videotape, so you can see exactly what did happen and what was supposed to happen.
Well, this is the surface of the moon as it looked this morning at about 4:30 a.m. Friday morning, and there's the team at NASA Ames, and this is a graphic on the left of what the thing should have looked like when it hit. But for some reason, what happened was that's what it should have looked like. That's a computer animation. When this craft hit, it hit in the right place, it hit at the right time, but it didn't throw up any plume that anyone could see. All the world's great telescopes were looking at it, the Keck telescope in Hawaii, the Hubble telescope, and there were hundreds and hundreds of school children in the parking lot at Mountain View. Sergey Brin from Google bought his Tesla down there. And these were people that camped out, they were in sleeping bags. Astronauts came and spoke. In Washington, D.C., Buzz Aldrin was at an event. I mean, this was a big deal for space buffs, and it was kind of anticlimactic because everyone was looking at the screen and they didn't see that great plume. And NASA had said, well, in your backyard, if you have a 10-inch telescope or larger, you'll be able to see it too. And the theory now is that maybe they had the camera settings wrong, as every amateur photographer knows, if you get the lighting wrong, you can't see it. Or maybe the thing hit bedrock and not as soft a soil as they thought. But the good news is it did throw up some cloud. They did get some data, we know, and in a couple of weeks we'll know whether or not they actually found water.
Well, this was so unusual for NASA to have such a party atmosphere. I mean, I would have stayed up last night if I didn't have to show up here tonight. So it was all very exciting. But in the end, though, I mean, why should we care?
It's a great question, and the answer has to do with the future of human exploration. We've heard people talk a lot about maybe setting up a moon base one day, and actually NASA's plan has been to do that by 2020. But it costs up to $100,000 a gallon to take water to the moon because of the cost of lifting the weight up there. And so if you could find ice crystals on the moon and essentially take the dirt and microwave it and make water out of it, you can grow crops, you have water for people to drink, you could even, with the hydrogen in the water, make a fuel that you could then run other machinery or frankly even other rockets off of, potentially maybe to Mars or somewhere else. So it has a lot to do with our ability to go further out into space. And the great thing about this mission, it was pretty cheap by NASA standards. It was only $79 million. There weren't famous astronauts. It wasn't like the shuttle, which cost billions and billions. And it was kind of a neat thing.
So it could be that we'll gain something from it when the scientists do their work, but disappointing a little bit in the pictures that we were able to see.
Yeah,
right?
The scientists would tell you it's probably going to be a success, but for the watchers, it wasn't what they had hoped for.
Thank you, Paul.